Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 9 of the UK League Chat. Um, Starting the recording again. Did have a slight mishap, so apologies for that to my guests. So, my guest for today, once again, Tom Daniels.
Hello.
I'll do the same intro I've done 20 minutes ago. More or less a co-host at this point, interview extraordinaire for the UK League scene. You all know him by now. We're also lucky to be joined by Kiao, Radiant Esports coach, ex-Diabolus substitute, budding grime artist, could you say?
I don't know which category.
Self-proclaimed prophet. So let's just start off and just kick things off straight away with your stuff at Radiant, if you don't mind explaining it again. So you've obviously, for the last few weeks, I'm right in thinking, right?
Yeah.
Are the head coach of Radiant, and like we discussed, your first coaching role as well. So how are you kind of finding that transition then from being a player into a coach?
Well, yeah, like mentioned previously, near the end of DBL, and near the end of the regular split and coming into EU Masters play-ins, I transitioned from just being a substitute on DBL to helping Hansen as like an assistant. So I just did tasks for him, and then like we'd be in scrims together, watch the guys play, and then just like feedback to them, just like any normal coach would do. So like Hansen did a really good job of like making me feel like it wasn't just like an assistant coach, but like almost as if I was important as him, which is definitely not true, but it did feel like that. Which is why I felt like he did prep me very well to then take a head coach role at like a smaller level, which is why I thought like second div is pretty good for me. And that's how I ended up on Radiant, and now we've been coaching them for about 5 weeks now. This is like the 5th week with 2-2 in UKL. I think we're tied for third.
And you mentioned there that you'd kind of transitioned into that while you were at Diabolus with I Hansen. That was when in the split where he was coach of the split in the UK, and obviously got that kind of promotion, you could say, up into the bigger Spanish league. What was it like learning with him? What are some of the kind of key lessons he taught you in his coaching?
Well, it was definitely like a deserved promotion, as you say, for him. Like he definitely needed a breakthrough into like a bigger league, or like he always wanted to experience a gaming house experience. So now I'm really happy for him that he got to do that with PGM, even if at the end the result wasn't probably what he wanted. Well, definitely wasn't. But well, he definitely taught me one thing, that I need to work hard, and really hard, and harder than I already do. And then still even harder on top of that. Like he's pretty much just like this train that just constantly just goes forward, and like he just wants to learn and learn and learn, and then feedback, and then make VOD reviews, and like if he could, he would work 365 days a week. Like I'm still talking to him regularly now, and he was like telling me how for the first time he's playing like FIFA Manager and shit. But you see how even when he's for the first time in about 3 years, and I'm not kidding, he has like free time, he's still playing a managing game. Like he's still being a coach in FIFA. Like, but at least he's playing a different game, like. And like I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but he's also like booked himself a little trip to Korea and Japan. Like for the first time, he has a rest. So I'm really happy for him, and I'm excited to see wherever he ends up next.
Cool. We touched on this a little bit earlier as well, but just back onto Radiant and the UKEL. For anyone that doesn't know, that is a fairly new league that was set up kind of as an unofficial second division to the UKLC. So that obviously there's a lot of players didn't make it to UKLC rosters. So rather than just sitting around waiting for Forge of Champions, we've now got this structured league where people can play week in, week out. And obviously the idea behind that is to give more players a bit of exposure and give them a platform to showcase their skills. Do you think it's doing that? Do you think it's been working out so far? Obviously it's kind of given you that chance to step into a head coach role as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the guys over at DSG, because they're the ones that like made it, which is like Synergy, Omni, and so on and so on. I think they did a really good job of it. Like, especially as they will know, but I do complain about like a decent amount of things there. But like considering it's just like an esports org running it like out of their own time and like just trying their best, I think they did a really good job. So like, and I'm sure all the people playing in it can like thank them for it, because even though it's not like perfect, it's better than doing nothing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely helps all the teams prep for Forge of Champions and qualification tournament if they manage to get there, as they'll have like 7 weeks of practice extra.
I was definitely impressed with like even when it first got announced, like the branding and everything of it. It looks really slick. It looks good. They got a big sponsor in MSI as well. UKLC doesn't even have any kind of sponsor. I'm not sure if they're planning to. But yeah, I was really impressed. If that's
What are
something-
who are some of the standout players in the UKL? You know, someone who's kind of like, if you had to say, maybe if you're new or you watch the UKLC, who would you what matchup would you kind of say would be a good matchup to watch, or some players to watch out for there?
I assume you mean UKEL, right? Because you said
Oh yeah, UKEL, yeah.
I mean, so like the biggest player in UKEL, like by far, is Bendix from Click, because he's just like, not much edge, bro. He's like just one tier above any other player in here. And then apart from that, I'd say it's a lot of like fan favorites, where it's just like everyone loves Ego Speed, and like people love seeing like just Bulldogs as an org in general, because like even now in Insomnia, one day they had to play 14 games in a row because they dropped to losers bracket and then went all the way through losers bracket to finals. So like Bulldogs is a good org. Like Dutch fans tune into our games and Mythos's games, because Atto plays for Mythos and is a Dutch jungler, and then Dino and Jinsane have like a pretty decent following from the Benelux scene. So it's pretty much just like fan favorites in each side.
What's the viewership like? In general?
I'd say, I think the highest I've seen it was like 300 viewers, but it's usually around like 100, 150, which for a second division, if you compare it to what first div used to be like a few years ago, it's not like tragic.
Well, even the
It's
UK,
pretty good.
the UKLC, I think half the time it's on like the Twitch front page, and I'm sure that bumps it up loads, because when it's not on the front page, a couple of
It's
times
like
I see
300,
these,
500
it's usually a few hundred. So to even be like almost half of that, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. Especially as like I'd say most of the viewers are just once again from like the players inside the teams, you know. So I feel like it's really important if you're a player and so on to like build your own brand and not just I don't know how to explain it. Like people don't watch because it's like Bulldogs playing, but people watch because it's like Ego Speed, Demo, Seb, Gold Cat, etc.
And at a point, it's down to the players really to kind of promote it themselves. Like, you know, that in League of Legends, it's about getting seen, really. You can be a great player, but because there's so many great players out there, you've got to be the one who's kind of seen and known in the scene, unless you're like unbelievably good. So a lot of it will be down to the players to kind of say, look, come and watch me play. And then you never know who then from them tweeting something out, it could be a manager of an organization who thought, you know what, I'll check this out. It's getting traction. Let's see him play. Oh, he's really good. You know, let's watch more. And I think as well, it is down to the players to kind of garner that. Where with the UKLC, they've kind of got the, let's be honest, when Fnatic and XL play, you see like a spike in viewership because people just want to see Fnatic and XL's academy at that point. And that is good in its sense, because then people maybe will stay on the stream and see what the other teams do. Especially last split when XL weren't particularly doing that well, and then probably some XL fans were like, oh, well, what teams are beating our side at this point? And then that would keep them on. But a lot of it is, especially in the second division, down to not just the organization, but down to the players as well. And I think, to be fair, like the viewership is a decent amount for what is not even an official second division anyway. So
yeah, for sure.
I touched on it on your intro as well. You have got you must be spreading yourself very thin, Kiao. So you're coaching, you're maybe still playing here and there. You've done writing for Daedalus, writing prediction articles, and you're doing music as well. How you manage that? How you doing all
Well, I just have way too much free time.
How long do you sleep?
Oh, I don't even know. I don't fully understand why, but I can't sleep very long. Like, if I go to sleep at like midnight, I'll wake up at like 7 a.m. If I go to sleep at like 4 a.m., I'll still wake up at like 8 or 9. Like I find it, I don't know why, but yeah, I just can't sleep for like longer than 4 or 5 hours, honestly.
do you feel tired when you wake up or not?
No. I don't feel tired when I wake up. I usually feel tired around like 6, which is bad because that's when scrim start. But it's probably because at uni I got into a habit of having a nap at like 6 p.m.
Yeah, it's that nap, that little mid possibly go out nap, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
I could never get into naps. I can't. I hate going to sleep when the sun's out. So
I
could never do the thing either. Even like when like at school and summer holidays and stuff. If I ended up staying up late and it got to the point where the sun started coming out, like, I literally just feel sick. I don't know why. I just hate trying to sleep when the sun's already out.
I love it, me. Love it. Love a good nap.
I couldn't nap until
my girlfriend.
Yeah, literally saying until I got a girlfriend, and then
Yeah.
I've just been napping since.
Well, actually, yeah, I can nap by accident, but that's the only other time, watching TV or something. But yeah, I've kind of hijacked your answer there. So you're doing these 4 different things.
Yeah, I do writing, playing, coaching, and music at the same time.
What one? So I'm not asking the same stuff every time, but what one? What do you think is the one you're best at?
Oh, which one I'm the best at?
Actually, even I would take it a step further. Order them 1 to 4. What you're best to worst at?
Oh, okay.
Bear in mind, if you put coaching 4th, then you're live.
Yeah, you are a current coach. Yeah.
Okay, so I'd put playing 4th. I'm D1. Well, I should just demoted, but that's just because season 9 is a horrible season and you can play whatever. But so I'd put playing 4th. Then I'd put writing articles 3rd. Because if we're talking, if someone that actually writes articles read my articles, I'm sure they'd be like, "What is this guy doing?" Like,
I don't think they're too bad.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so that's good.
Like, I think I don't use punctuation. I don't think I.
Well, I didn't mention it's the content. It's all about the content, isn't it? That's all.
Well, if you think like me and Tom are doing it as well, we're just doing it off our own backs as well, and hardly like professionals or anything. I don't think many people have that kind of high standard anyway.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
I mean, I have a journalism degree, but you know, like, it's fine.
I definitely do not. I do esports, but yeah.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, and then I've put coaching 2nd, and then music 1st. Yeah, because I say I'm still relatively new to coaching. Like, I'd say if you count the assistant coaching, I'd still only be doing it for like a few months. Like, not even like half a year. So, and I think music, even though it's like officially first time I started making music, I've been like writing and just messing around music, and like grew up on like a heavy like music background. So I was hung out with my bigger brother, and like all he listened to was like NWA and so on, and Polish music. So yeah, I feel like I grew up on quite like a music background. So yeah, I'll take music 1st and coaching 2nd.
What one do you reckon you'll be doing as your job in 5 years?
My plan is, you ready? To do music while I do coaching, while I do articles, while I have a part-time job.
So you're set for the LEC rap battles then, isn't it? That's what you're waiting for.
Yeah,
just give them a call. That's it. Yeah.
Please do, because they were quite shocking, I think.
Agreed. There's like Lions Creed Support is like a rapper as well.
Oh,
he's got like his own black box and everything. I don't know if you know what that is. Well, it's where like a lot of, I'm pretty sure you have to pay to be on there, but it's still where a lot of like rappers go, and like you know, like Dave, for example. Yeah, he like blew up through his black box and so on. So yeah, there's another rapper in UKL, but I once responded to him because someone tagged me in his like Twitter and was like, "Oh my god, you guys should make a song together," or like do like a League of Legends like rap battle. But he didn't respond, so I don't think he's interested. I was just for the yeah, definitely. I'll just do it for the banter, but I mean, maybe he takes it a bit more seriously now.
Maybe talk to the league, see if you can get an extra win for whoever wins it.
Oh, we actually play them. I played them on Monday. Lions Creed.
Well, there you go. He can't hide then, can he?
Exactly. Yeah, mind games. Just do your own diss track and put it out the day before the match.
True, but what if we lose? I would
The day
agree.
after
Delete
the
it.
match. Day after.
Yeah.
The
Oh.
All right, cool. Let's move on then. So we've just had, if we're going taking up a step to the UKLC, we just had the gauntlet. Big story from there was Phelan coming out of literally nowhere. Relegation fodder, it looked like. They were joint 6th, I think, with Excel and Envision. There was only a tiebreaker that even got them into the playoffs.
So yeah, I just checked. They were in Phelan were 7th because they were tied with Envision for 7th, and then Envision lost, so they dropped to relegation, and Phelan went up.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, in any case, had like a tiebreaker anyway. Then yeah, just like out of nowhere, 2-0 against Enclave, 2-0 against Douglas, 2-0 against Demise, 2-1 against M&M, which is probably the biggest surprise. M&M were the only team that really, well, they seemed like a kind of a clear step between the rest of the league and the LEC guys. They were kind of in the middle of all of those, it seemed. But Phelan has been the only team that can beat him. They beat him once in the tower as well, and then they've knocked him out 2-1. Finally, we're against XL, and you can't really fault them for losing there. I think any team would have probably lost 2-0 to XL, which is why, well, they definitely would have. XL didn't lose, I don't think, a single game. I think it was Fnatic, wasn't it, that I think lost once to M&M. Am I right?
No, not in this one. In Summer Split, XL and Fnatic only lost to each other. No one else beat them.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I thought there was one match.
No, someone beat them in the last game of the game of the split.
I'm sure M&M beat Fnatic once.
Oh wait, really?
No, someone beat XL. Because I believe because M&M wanted to face, was it Enclave which beat XL, and then M&M wanted to face the winner of that, but then they'd lost the feeling.
No, it was Enclave beat it, because I remember predicting M&M against an academy team, and they actually won it. And
it was on the last day anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I'll have a quick check up while you're continuing that, just to have.
Kiao, you could probably elaborate a bit more, since you had the inside knowledge of the coaching changes that they had as well.
Yeah, I mean, with like Pad coming into Phelan, like the same week he joined, they picked up their first win. I don't remember if it was week 4 or 5, but I think it was 4. But anyway, so when Pad joined, they won the same week. Then obviously it took them a while to like ramp up, but maybe they were just playing to get into the gauntlet, and then they knew about their gauntlet run because they were tweeting about it. They were like really confident about it, which for a team that barely got into gauntlet, you wouldn't think that. And like when they beat Enclave, everyone was like, "Wow, that's like really good." And then they beat DBL, and everyone's like, "Oh, wow, okay, that's really good." And then they beat DMS, and everyone's like, "Okay, it's getting a little bit weird." And then they beat and then they beat M&M, and then I'm sure like half the UK scene became believers, and they were like, "Yes, get Phelan to the stadium, like Phelan top 2, Phelan EU Masters," and then they got hit with reality, and there goes gravity. So yeah, unfortunate.
We'll touch on it a bit more later, but I reckon some of the guys at LVP were praying that XL beat them, because I'm sure they were kind of looking forward to the sister team final, like even just viewership and selling tickets and that.
Yeah, I'm sure they didn't they probably had a lot of like schemes and stuff like prepped for it being XL versus Fnatic.
I think that would have thrown some of their plans up in the air if Phelan had actually managed it. So I'm sure they were probably happy to see it ended there.
And it was just...
You are right. XL and Phelan only did beat each other. I thought they won on the last game of the season, but yeah, they all won. So yeah.
But from
we were wrong.
From a coaching perspective, it seemed really hard to actually prep against Phelan, especially considering every single team in the gauntlet realistically had like 1 day to prep for them, right? Or like it was like 1 day. It was day after the day. So yeah, because like probably DBL prepped for Enclave realistically. Maybe they prepped a little bit for Phelan in case somehow they won, and then like DMS like probably also only had a day to prep for Phelan, and then M&M like also had like 2 days to prep for Finland. So considering all the like combos they brought out, like Pantheon Shen, Cassiopeia Rakan, Veigar Pike, like it was definitely really hard to prep for them. So yeah, like as a coach, I don't really know how I'd prep against Finland in 1 day. Just ban like I definitely wouldn't let Betry have Pantheon almost every single game in a row.
It was a team which I said at the beginning, well, the end of the split, had like nothing. Like the reason why I said that they were probably going to get relegated is because I just didn't think there was anything special about that side. And to be fair, then when it came into the playoffs, they proved me wrong. Like they actually have a lot of ability, which I didn't even think was really there. And Bear Tree probably did help that as well. I think Bear Tree was unbelievable, and I've said this in the previous recording. But when you look at some of those players at the beginning of the gauntlet, you probably thought that not a lot of them will stay at Phelan at the end of it because they've just not been good enough. But then you especially look at Achu, who I think was a standout performer in the entire gauntlet, and he's probably saved himself a spot, and along with Bear Tree. And to be fair, you look at the Eminem Phelan game, and I know it's a bit weird, but like you've got the former head coach of Eminem, and then you've got the assistant coach of Eminem in Pat and Connor, haven't you? So if there's one team who knows how to beat Eminem, it probably would have been those two anyway, considering they kept a lot of the 3 core players from Eminem anyway, because they knew those players inside and out. And I probably probably didn't mean everything, but it must have meant something anyway.
Yeah, good.
Just before we move on, okay. Tom, I think you are wrong. I'm looking at the Tower 7 right now.
Oh, go on.
Eminem beat XL UK in the final. I'm sure I
did they?
I'm sure I wasn't going mad because
that was it.
Yeah,
I was looking at the first round. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was that.
Correct.
I think it was that. Oh no, it wasn't that bracket you were saying. So yeah, XL.
Yeah, I do
XL
remember
beat
that,
Douglas and Enclave, but yeah. So Eminem was the only team to beat him, but then they didn't get a chance to again. So
I was actually really sad with how DBL ended the split. If you consider the first few weeks, like, because obviously when everyone saw their roster, everyone like rated them really low.
Yeah.
And obviously then when they came out and like, well, the moment they switched Koki for Draktar, I tweeted that like, if DBL do well, they'll get top 4. And then obviously they then like kept on. They got like final 3 times in a row or something. Mm-hmm. So I feel like the players obviously were good enough. So then I feel like you point fingers maybe towards the coaching staff there. Not too sure, because obviously I feel like week 1 of UKLC, it's like the coaches haven't impacted that much yet, you know. But like by like 3, 4, 5, I mean, you saw it with Pad, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Like how much like that impacts it. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed with the fact that DBL pretty much from like week 6 didn't really show anything. It didn't seem like they were adapting or improving at all. They were still good, but everyone improved, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas they seemed like they were pretty on the same ability throughout the whole UKLC.
Oh shit! Even Barrage got a win in the end, so yeah.
Barrage is that's the biggest, something else.
Yeah,
that's something else.
Yikes!
I don't know how to explain it at all. Like
nobody does.
I've honestly thought about it for like so long. Like, how is it possible? Like, I just
we do. I think when we had Shogun on, we spoke about.
Like, he was so confident that they were going to stay up as well. I believe
we kind of talked about, because it was more like even the coaching staff than the roster. I think that got people hyped up for him. And we spoke saying like we're not sure exactly what Ferndog's role was, because he's come as like this player, what was it, performance director or something like that.
So basically he was the coach of coaches.
Yeah, so we kind of wondered, maybe he's not doing that much. But then once I think I saw he did like his free agent tweet, and then all the other coaches jumped on the back of it, saying how great of an influence he was, and they learnt so much from him. So like literally, God knows what was going on there.
I wanted to write an article about like Barrage, like my first like not interview based article in the UKLC, and it was like what went wrong with Barrage, and honestly I got about halfway through and I just realized I'm just writing utter rubbish because I generally just did not, I couldn't pinpoint anything of what really went wrong.
Anyone not in that team, I don't know. I don't think you would know.
Yeah, like it's easy to point a finger at, like, for example, like, so people pointed fingers at like bot lane at first. I think the support like changes. A lot of people were like commenting on it saying like, "Oh, Rek isn't better than Emre," blah blah blah. But I feel like Rek's voice, because I was like trialing Rek when I was in a different team in UK. Yeah, long story, but anyway, so I was like trialing Rek, and like his voice does mean a lot. So I think like Emre was better mechanically, but like they obviously were lacking some sort of leader in there. I mean, Jakamaka, like, obviously, I mean, he either unperformed or like was he ever actually like top tier? You know, like they definitely needed a better ADC, but they went for comfort. They went for what they had previously, and you can't really fault through me for like staying with Jakamaka. And then obviously they brought in Fax, because like Fax, like, it's pretty much. I feel like this is the second time a team has done it now. DMS did it. Not DMS. What was the team that got relegated?
Darkspawn.
Yeah, Darkspawn did it, where they subbed in Fax because like, oh, this guy used to be good, and then it's like, yeah, but he's been playing League for a month, you know, like again. And same happened again. Like Fax didn't have a computer for like really long, so he had the computer for like a month. Like if you give time to Fax, he will like be really good, but
it's not a short-term solution, isn't it?
Yeah, no. But like even so, I don't understand how like the trio of like Zergoth, Monkeys, and D.Va didn't pick up one win. Well, they got one in the end, but yikes.
let's move.
I mean, I was going to say that they probably won't get relegated, but then at the end of the day, when the Forge of Champions happened in the relegation tournament, you know, the last split, I didn't think that Bulldogs and Darkspawn were gonna go down, and then they went down as well. So it's you obviously I would probably put Barrage right now as a probably better organization as in a team roster than either of those two at that point, but anything can happen, and they really shouldn't have been put in that position in the first place. It's there's something wrong with it. I think they've already announced that they're going to try and make many changes. I don't know if they're going to make changes and leading up to Forge of Champions, or if they're going to stick with the squad and hopefully it gets them up, but something needs to happen anyway.
Yeah, agreed.
So it is, I'm right in thinking it's the same thing as in spring then, they've got Forge of Champions to stay in basically?
Well,
yes, is it?
I'm not sure, only because I heard, just the way I heard some people talk about it, maybe made it kind of sound like they're done and relegated. I wasn't too sure.
No, so the way it worked last time, I believe, was there was like two teams that played through Forge, and then yeah, it was like really confusing. And
it
then
was like a mini
teams...
like it was a mini like.
So it didn't happen in Forge of Champions. I think it was the top 4 sides of the Open qualifying tournament of Forge of Champions qualified for Forge of Champions and also the promotion tournament.
Yeah,
and then they faced each other in a mini playoff until there's 2 sides, and then it's the 1 side versus the academy sides, and then they go into a loser bracket. There's a lot of brackets. I had it like lined out at once. It's like because Forge of Champions actually isn't the promotion relegation tournament. Really, the one for the teams to get in is through the Open qualifying tournament, and the top 4 of them then after playing Forge of Champions play the promotion relegation tournament, I believe. So. Unless they change it, they could change it like before we know it. So
yeah,
let's see. All right, let's move on then from the gauntlet to the grand final. Only a few days away, the live final. Either of you guys going?
No, I'm living in the north, so
if I win tickets, I might, but I'm poor. I can't afford the train.
Oh shit. Maybe see you there then, Kiao. We'll see if you're lucky. So the big 2, Fnatic, XL. Let's just start off straight away with your guys' predictions. I'm going 3-2 XL.
I'm going 3-2 Fnatic. So,
I'll go.
Ooh.
3-1 Fnatic.
So I'm on my own. Only XL. I'll give.
I think it's safer to go for XL, but yeah, I'll let you.
Yeah, I agree. I think the wild bet is Fnatic.
I'll tell you I think the main reason for me is that their main team has nothing to be doing as well. So I think all their coaches and everything, that since they're not in playoffs for LEC, they've got whoever's available and is not on holiday is on the UKLC final. I don't know if I doubt they swap some of the players around. I'm not expecting Mickey to turn up at Twickenham, but there's always
It's
a
the
chance.
full XL lineup.
Yeah.
Just like...
There's always a chance. You never say never. So I don't know if that would make them any better though, because they've kind of got the core group of the UK players now, obviously, other than like XR and Special maybe swapping around. But yeah, I think there's the fact that they've got no LEC stuff to focus on. For me, is why I think they'll just nip it. They'll just nick it. Sorry. What about you guys? Why are you going Fnatic?
Bando. There's my reason. Bando and MagiFelix. I think that they are two players who arguably shouldn't be in any regional league if MagiFelix can prove that he can do it on the big stage, which on a LAN stage really. So I think they are two great players, and I'm not too sure if we might see Dan
Good point.
in this one, and I think that they're better with Dan. They may swap them during the series. I don't know if they can. The only outlier is Ronaldo, but from what we saw from like the mini watch we got to see of him, he's pretty good. Hopefully, and he'll have time. He has time now to have learned the support role at this point. He would have been, let's be honest, he would definitely have had Hillisang helping him. And where you say that the the XL side aren't doing much, I think that they're going to be less motivated to help these players as opposed to Fnatic, who have got a big match to practice for, and they're probably going to be wanting to scrim at least a little bit with the academy side, and it'll be a lot more proper, and they'll probably get a lot more attention to that. Yeah. So you could flip it both ways, really. Is there going to be more attention put in because they're in more of a competitive environment? Because I believe they are all in the same. They're all training together now, anyway. Both sides are, so it depends on how that goes.
That's a good point, actually. You say about Fnatic's main team, because I know they'll probably be doing things like there'll be certain matchups and things they'll want to try out and hide it from proper scrim. So yeah, they'll probably be getting the better practice then out of the two. What about you, Kiao? Why have you gone Fnatic?
Because this is how it's gonna go, right? So MagiFelix cannot play on stage. He's too scared, and then he just crumbles. So the first game they're gonna play with MagiFelix, because MagiFelix promised them he's not scared anymore, and they're gonna lose.
Oh wow!
So then they're like, oh fuck, it's happening again. Like MagiFelix is getting flashbacks to Turkey when he was on youth crew. Like he's trembling. He's like, guys, I can't do it. So then Ronaldo's like, boys, I played mid lane before, sub me in. Ronaldo goes play mid lane. We get Niji, however you pronounce his name, support. He'll just pick something. Like X-Mat is good enough. He'll win. You can give Heian and the Heimerdinger, so at least then you know what to prep, because he'll lock it in if it's open. So like they could be prepping for it already, and then I just win 3 games in a row with Bando, Dan, Ronaldo, X-Matty, and then Niji support.
So this all lies on the MagiFelix crumble. Is that it?
I mean, yeah. If MagiFelix doesn't crumble, I think they just win 3-0.
Oh, okay.
Well, that is a good point though, because in the UK so far he hasn't had to play on LAN, and those were the kind of stories that came out why he hadn't made it yet on a proper team. Like obviously he's clearly a great player. Like even just from solo queue, like not anyone is going to get 4 accounts in the top 10. So there must be something holding him back.
And EU Masters, he was good, but he wasn't anything special. He wasn't bad necessarily at EU Masters, but he wasn't. He wasn't the MagiFelix which we've seen, destroy teams online. Really.
Yeah.
I hope. I think I say it every time I see MagiFelix online. I'm like, right, this is this is it. He's got the confidence. He's sorted. He's ready. He's going to do it, and then he doesn't. And I'm like, oh, please just be good in LAN, because I think he's a great player. I think everybody knows that he's a great player. He's just he can't perform on stage at this point.
Well,
and
if you think of his last LAN match, I think they played one game of it with him, didn't they, in the LEC? And I think it's kind of harsh for him to have his debut like this. But I think didn't they put Nemesis ADC or something, and just lost, obviously.
It was weird,
confusing.
And then that's probably not the if he's thinking, oh wow, want to improve on the last time I was at LAN. Wasn't the ideal scenario for him to have another go. I think that's a bit of a weird choice that as well, for someone that has a bit of a reputation of being a bit nervous to give him a debut like that. So I don't know. That's a good point. Probably a lot of it could rest on that.
I also feel like Excel's easier to prep for.
Do you reckon?
I feel like, what Fnatic have not played seriously with like their new additions yet. Like no one knows. Like to the point where I'm confused if they know how to play normally or if they're going to like troll when they play.
Yeah.
Well, saying
that, I agree.
Just saying that as well. I think that's a good point, because at the start of summer we had the whole thing about Excel or Flexel memes, like they move stuff around. You don't know where some things are going to be, but actually, the more the weeks have gone on, it's basically the same flexes they do every time. Like if it's Cassiopeia, Sendo's going to go bot. If it's Yasuo, then XR's going to go bot.
Yeah, and then you've got the Heimerdinger.
Yeah, if they play Corki, Hyunan's going to go mid. So I think by now those are the only ones, and we've seen all of them more than once as well. So unless they've got a couple more up their sleeve, then I don't think any of them are actually going to be that surprising.
Surprisingly as well, XL have kept very much the same roster as well throughout this summer split, where I expected more of a rotation, where it's more been Fnatic who have decided to rotate quite a lot. I would say not really in terms of like personnel. You've still got Shikari, who's a sub. He could even come in. Who really knows? They could play Bando jungle and play Shikari, Shikari top at this rate. I don't know.
And if Shikari plays, then it's 100% guaranteed win as well.
Oh yeah, because that's it. I think they're just going to put him on one game just to get the guarantee. That's it.
They'll be 2-0 down, and they'll just put him on. He sits at the fountain, but just can't lose anyway.
I do expect them to just like switch roles a few times during this game. Like, even wouldn't surprise me if they just put MagiFelix support and Ronaldo mid. Like, I don't know. I'm quite excited to see what they're going to do with it.
It should be very interesting. It should be very interesting.
And then Dan's had so many weeks with the main Fnatic team, so like he should be much better. And like he was already one of the best junglers there. So yeah, I
kind of hope for his sake that they have given him like plenty of time with scrims and that, because I felt like a bit deep how he was great for them on the academy, and I think the only kind of main reason they bumped him up to the starting team was because they had that weak spring, and then as soon as they put him up, Broxer obviously sorted himself out and started playing good again, and Dan didn't really get a look in. So you should imagine that just being around scrims and that anyway is going to be useful. But I do feel a bit sorry for him. They didn't really get to play that much.
He played, didn't he? Though
he played in Rift Rivals, didn't he?
I think he had 1 or 2 games in Rift Rivals. I think that was it.
Yeah, and he played pretty well in Rift Rivals. So like he shouldn't, going from Rift Rivals to UKLC finals, he shouldn't be like too stressed.
Yeah.
Maybe he can like calm MagiFelix now. Also, XL flamed me on Twitter, so I hope they lose.
What happened?
So I predicted Enclave to beat XL, and then XL said, sorry, and Enclave were like, "This is the only predictions that matters, right?" To which, and then they like tagged my tweet. To which XL said, "There's a reason he's a free agent." To which then I linked the DBL being second and then missing out on E Masters, and then I wrote last time I wasn't a free agent, you had to watch me in E Masters, and then they responded like, "Oh, that's what you'll be doing this time," but like, you're a big org. I'm just a bad player. That's not an achievement.
If they just, for them just to use basically the same comeback at the end that you've already used. That's when that's the argument. I think
they might as well just said, "So what?" and then put on an emotion, an emoji.
They should have just put a picture of the stadium, and I'll be like, "Oh, fair enough." All right, boys. I'll pack my bags.
All right, I'm not sure what much else we can say on the final then. I wasn't actually sure. I don't know if this had been announced before, but how the setup was going to work, because you see that it's at Twickenham, and I was kind of thinking, I don't imagine they're going to sell out 50,000 seats
on the pitch.
I don't think it's going to be like the world's finals or something like that. But the venue actually looks right. It's like a little live, like it kind of like for like conferences or banquets and things like that. It looks like it looks about. I think it's a bit bigger than like the Berlin Riot Studio, and they've sold it out, which is pretty decent. It should be like a couple hundred people in there at least, which is, I think it's a good start for them to try for the first time and be doing like a live final and set it out with a few hundred people, because I'm sure that would have been a bit embarrassing if just no one turned up.
Well, it's best to start small, isn't it? To be fair, and the sell point is that it is at Twickenham as well, which is always a good thing. And it helps that it is XL versus Fnatic as well. That like, that's not going to lie. Probably to be fair, if maybe a team like M&M was there, they've got a good they've got a good fan base anyway. So, but it does help to have two probably of the biggest organisations in this final.
Yeah, definitely. And lucky for me, it's on the closer side of London for me as well. So it's in like 20 minutes on the bus. Don't even have to pay.
I mean, if I got a bus, I think I'd have to wait the whole day just to get there. I think like, it's £6 it is on the bus, but yeah, well, I don't want the 8 hour journey.
I don't know if you've had much experience with like TFL in London, but to get the train from the outer zones, like where I live, into central London and back, you can pay like a £10 for your travel for one day. When you live in the city, it's like nuts. So when I checked and I saw I didn't have to get the train, I was buzzing for that. So that's very nice. All right, let's move on then. And our final segment, let's work out a team of the split. So let's start with top lane. When I was thinking about this seemed obvious to me. I don't know if you guys would disagree. I would go for Sendo. I couldn't think of anyone else who had been close. Obviously Fnatic like changed a bit midway through as well, so and even with the change, Shikari's not one of those kind of standout players that you'd kind of generally pick for these sort of things either. And Sendo's come back as well. Everyone kind of slated him at the start of the split, and it looks like that went to heart, and now he's just turned into a monster.
I'd say maybe only Angel, if you consider. I feel like only Angel won M&M more games than Sendo won XL games.
I think if you've got to go for three, I think you go Bear Tree, only Angel, and Sendo. However, I wouldn't give it Bear Tree because of the amount of games he played. But if he did it over a full split, definitely, I would say. I agree with only Angel being a very good player, but for me, like I thought that Sendo. And I don't know if it was because of the expectations of him being, let's be honest, what people call a D-class top laner in what is a great side. He did step up and he did perform. I'd have to edge it to Sendo just by watching. But that I think that a part of that is probably because like of what people said before and what actually happened.
Definitely. I think like some of his NAR games were like wicked as well. Because I remember this is when I first started watching some of the UK scene, and it was after XL had lost a final to, I don't remember. I think it was like Diabolus or someone. And it was a best of 5, I think. And the 5th game he played NAR, and he'd done like some ridiculous build. It was like some like Triforce like Phantom Dancer, and they just got smashed in the last game. And he tried to split push, and then I think just got caught and had no like tankiness or anything because he did this. What I thought was a weird build. I don't know. I'm not a player, but yeah, he definitely stepped up a lot from those previous splits, and I think he would deserve it.
Actually, I'd probably still just give it to Shikari. Actually. Yeah.
See, it's one of those where Shikari is, let's be honest, the best top laner.
He's just like so solid as well. Like, he's like, I kind of think of him. He's like the Dyrus of the UKC.
Like I'm thinking, if I was going to like make a team and I can only use UKLC, the way I'm gonna think about it, I'd still pick Shikari over any as a top laner.
I think that's true.
Out of Shikari and Sendo, I definitely wouldn't have seen Shikari being the one being benched. Like, if even like on the day he got benched, I would never have said that it would have been Shikari. If you said that Banjo's coming in, who's he going to replace? I'd be like, it's definitely not Shikari. Shikari's top, and it did, and it was unbelievable to be honest. But
yeah, because I feel like there was some like deeper conflict in, like, I don't actually know, so I can't even like leak anything because also it was Prospect and Shikari that both were like,
yes,
all right, we're not playing, and then Prospect got removed from the contract database, and then Shikari played the next week. So
Shikari, like, of speaking to Shikari, like this was last split, so it could have all changed. He's always been a player who seems quite self-critical of himself, and maybe he just thought that he needed to maybe have a little bit of a break, and that's why he's a sub. He's not actually, he's still on the database in Fnatic, and maybe he decided and said to them, I might need a little bit of a break to kind of practice, learn some more, and then come back.
Potentially.
I think with Prosper, that was definitely a case where I think I read his tweet, and he basically said that he had some like issues which he said that he couldn't fix. And I don't know then if that was this is speculation. I don't know if that was he knowing that he had issues and then left voluntarily, or Fnatic knew about these and then he left because of that. But I think Shikari's a weird one. But if we are counting Shikari, because technically he is still in the UKLC, Shikari's top. But if it were going off starting, I would go Sendo.
Yeah, I think if you do it like you said, Kiao, if you're like building a dream team, I think there's no way you wouldn't put Shikari, because then that frees you up for so much else.
Yeah.
Just because he doesn't need the attention. Like, I think Sendo without much attention probably wouldn't be that good. And that's why he is a bit hit and miss sometimes. He is like high highs, but then pretty low lows. Whereas Shikari's like way more solid, I think. Let's look at jungle then. I went for NG on this one. What about you guys?
I went for Nolte. If I had to have a look at him, I rate Nolte. I think he's been quite consistent for Eminem and been one of Eminem's best players. I think without doing too much, I think he's enabled his side a lot more. Where I think NG, I think XL and Fnatic. It's difficult to rate their junglers because not all of them have been playing jungle, and they've had this weird rotation of every player. So I feel like that for me knocks quite a few of the players down in terms of we'll talk about Ronaldo, for example. Like, Ronaldo's a great player. He's got one of the best win rates in the UKLC, but where do you put him? Because he's played multiple positions as well. Exactly. You just have a team of Ronaldos. That's it. I think Nolte has been someone who's not maybe been like the MVP of Eminem, but has been a great constant for Eminem. Has been one of the reasons to get up to that place.
One thing I'd give him a lot of credit for as well, because I think even out the blocks, Eminem looked pretty good. Even like we said earlier, like the first few weeks, every team's still gelling, the coach is still putting their stamp on it. I think he was one that from week one was showing up, and was probably a big part of them being good through the whole split, rather than being one of these other teams that had to make it up a bit down the line as well.
Yeah, I'd say it's softer for me.
Soft. Oh yeah, because of the play-ins. Yeah,
I mean, even before, like, I'd say he was still doing like the most he could do as a jungler in like the games Phelan were losing.
in terms of impact, he was definitely like out of all those players, he was the only player. Maybe a Chew because of the gauntlet, but he was the only player I considered like if I had to build a team that he would be in there because and that's quite a good compliment considering the position which he was even with the gauntlet run.
I think
so for me,
I think PFI would be a decent shout as well. I think
Yeah,
a lot of what's given Diablo some success is through him. A massive step from his spring as well.
Yeah, I was going to say PFI, but then like they resorted on just putting him on Sejuani like at the end of the split, like all the time, which is it's definitely his best champion. But yeah, I mean we could see like how online he was the first few weeks. Like he kept on, I think he got like 3 first bloods in a row and so on. Like I'd say PFI and Soph are like becoming like really good UK junglers really fast.
If we had like a most improved, like PFI is definitely there. Like I think from what he had in the spring to the summer and the progression he showed, I think was unbelievable. It goes to show what slightly better players you could say did for him, and like you said at the beginning, they did enable him, and then like you said, slightly towards the end, he didn't get that luxury, and it's no surprise that they had probably the better start at the beginning, and then they slowly dropped off. Which one are we going? There's a lot of junglers.
Yeah, there was no no majority vote on that one.
I think if I had to change my vote, it would be PFI.
Alright, then I agree. PFI. I love Rafa.
Yeah,
he's my best friend. I love you, Raf.
Then why didn't you say him first time?
Because I think he's heart stuck.
Alright. Mid lane then. This was a tricky one for me because I've gone for Special. When he did play, I thought he was the best for me, but then obviously he's been subbed out. There's games where XL have moved Kiana to mid as well, so I kind of thought that was like a cheap answer as well. I wasn't too sure.
I think there's been a lot of good mid laners. I think this is actually some of the strongest players have been in mid lane. I think Beely's performed, decently well. I think that you even look at Chimera like at the end in the gauntlet. But for me, there's them, and then there's MagiFelix, and I just think he's that a level above. And I think that Special has to perform unbelievably well every match, which I think in some he has done. Where I think to get to MagiFelix level, he only needs to play at half of that. MagiFelix is just that much better that he doesn't need to maybe perform as much to even be better than some of the best. I
personally, before the split side, like put a Special above MagiFelix, and like I think if Special played the whole split, then I'd be able to argue that. But I'm pretty sure he has only played like 2-3 weeks, so yeah, I feel like I can't really make an argument for it. So I feel like it would have to be MagiFelix for me.
Yeah. But I think the only
Chibs has been good as well. Like Chibs is consistent again.
Two quadra kills I think he had as well.
Yeah, Chimera played insane in Gauntlet, but that's it.
Yeah, I think the only thing that when I was thinking about it didn't put MagiFelix straight in my mind. It was only because I think of the outrageous spring he had. I think in spring he was even more of a gap like between him and the rest of the league. I don't think he's been as I don't think he's popped off as much in summer. You can say that he's had changes with the team around him, so he may not have the same kind of support that he had in spring. But yeah, definitely, I think he's still a good
I don't think
as well.
He's winning player of the split. If I had to choose, I don't think he's winning player of the split, but I think he's been the best mid laner.
They'll probably give player of the split to like Sing or something.
Yeah, I was thinking. I think it's But we'll see who I put as ADC and support. So,
all right, let's go to ADC then. I've gone for Denvoxney.
Same.
I've gone for Hyanan, but Denvoxney was very close. Yeah. Very, very close.
Well, it's 2-on-1, boys.
So let me just first say, obviously, Hyanan is unbelievable.
Garen.
We all knew that. I mean, to be fair, if you do good with a Garen, you've done it. But Hyanan was one of the main win conditions for a lot of XL's game, and he exceeded those. You expect him to exceed, and maybe the fact that you do expect so much from him, it probably does lower his stock down a little bit, because when you see Hyun and when you see him perform very well, you're like, well, he should be, really. And I think that dies down a lot, but I think that Hyun, for me, has been the best player performance-wise for a lot of the UKLC. Wow. And I just think that his ability to change as well with what XL have been doing shows not only his quality but his adaptability. But we already knew that anyway, and I thought that if it wasn't for Hyanan as well and his adaptability, XL wouldn't have been playing the way they played. So you can kind of say that they've been most of the time playing around him as well, and I think that shows the difference between spring split and summer split is basically they had Hyanan and they basically used this player and used him correctly and stuck with him and gone with it. And I think he's another player where I think he's actually step above a lot of other players. But I think Den Voxnay has had an unbelievable split, and when I saw him at when he was at EJBY Brotherhood, he was definitely the standout, and I was like, they need to keep this guy, whoever the all turns into.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like the best ADC, if we're just talking, like, if I'm excluding Garen, I think Xmat is better than Hyanan. Like, yeah, I don't know. Hyanan just has, like, some sort of either motivational issues or something. If you, like, consider when he went to, like, Ad Hoc in Germany, and he just, like, unless he got Heimerdinger, he was pretty shit. And then he went to LEC, and he was pretty shit. And, like, he's doing good here, but if you consider the fact he's playing against Den Voxnay, a rookie, Dragdar, a rookie. I mean, Kevo isn't a rookie, but, like, you know, it's nothing like... Kevo's not, like, insane. Like, Echu and Wisdom are really good, but, yeah. Like, I feel like half the UKLC, like, ADCs aren't that strong.
But if you're counting... To counteract that, to be honest, then... we'll talk about supports in a second, but couldn't you say that is a downgrade then for Kasing because of the experience he's had? Should Hyanan really be knocked on his previous work and not really what he's been doing right now? Because I think what he's been doing right now, I thought he was definitely going to have like confidence issues when going in. I thought he's not going to want to play in the UKLC. He's just not going to be bothered. However, I don't think he's done that. I think he's actually shown that he's wanting to still play. I think that really his past failures shouldn't really knock what he's done this season.
Yeah, but I feel like when you judge ADCs, or like, I feel like you judge it as a whole bot lane. So if you consider Hyanan's playing with Kasing and Xmati is playing with Prosper, and I still feel like Fnatic's bot lane was better, and now like Xmati's going to be playing with Ronaldo, and I still think they're going to be the better bot lane. I think I think Xmati could perform in LEC. I don't know if Hyanan could perform in LEC. Well,
he can't.
He can't.
That's fair. Yeah, I agree with that. I do think it's hard to sometimes judge an ADC and a support separately because they do rely on each other a lot. So
yeah. Which leads us perfectly onto support. I'm hosting this podcast now. Leads us perfectly onto support. What's your support picks, guys?
I went Kasing.
Same.
It's hard. I feel like
it would have been Prosper if Prosper had stayed the entire split.
Oh, I'd want to say Kasing, but then like Wisdom, and then I'm like, okay, I'll just say Kasing. And then like this, and then it's just like, yeah, but like let's watch the games. Like he's a support, like surely he couldn't be feeling a losing, but Wisdom's still like popping off and doing well, and like him and Achu are just like a really good bot lane. Like I think I feel like if you swap, for example, Wisdom and Kasing, like Hyanan and Wisdom would not perform, whereas Achu and Kasing would. So probably if we're talking, I'd say. Which obviously isn't the question, but like Wisdom with Achu are better than Kasing.
So it's Den Voxnay, Kasing, or Achu Wisdom is your rotation. in this team. We're going 7-man.
Sure, yeah. I've got a 10-man roster, just like Excel did, and then subbed in half the roster. But we're building for the future. We're a long-term plan. Yeah.
I think Achu and Wisdom do have the benefit of they've played a lot together.
Yeah, I think in
to be
like
honest.
almost every
Yeah,
team.
but so Hyonan and Kasing should have that as well, to be fair.
But not, I don't think as much as Achu and Wisdom though, because I think Achu and Wisdom have basically been souls joined together for all I can remember, to be honest.
I'm confused then. Who have we decided on? Kasing, right?
Yeah.
Honourable mention to Wisdom.
Yes. Are we doing coach?
Yeah. Can we give it Pad, even though he's assistant coach? Just because what he did off Phelan.
I feel like, yeah. And then if not Pad, then I'd say maybe Demise's coach.
What coach? No, that's the Diabolus' coach. His coach.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't give it to him. Yeah,
Who?
I'd say it's probably Nia.
Who's Demise's coach? Near.
Yeah, Nia. Yeah.
I'd probably give it to him as well. I really liked. I think I tweeted about this before as well. Just for being one of the promoted teams, the way that Demise, the kind of style they tried to play of not just being not trying to be defensive. They didn't play to. They weren't playing to not lose. They were playing to win, and I thought that was really good, and it worked for him as well. Obviously, they were like
Garen is then Voxnay's idea, not Nia's, but tell that they weren't just a one-dimensional team. Like for example, DBL, I feel like if you maybe swapped coaches, DBL would have got top 4. Obviously, I can't say that confidently because I don't know how much both the coaches actually do, but it just seemed like DBL were very one-dimensional, whereas Demise came in this week and they were like, okay, well, they're swapping 10 minutes to do Herald, and then next week they're doing completely something else, and then you saw they managed to swap at their top laner and mid laner 3 weeks ago, and they were still as strong. Sure, Zyko moved from top to mid, so it wasn't it was 2 new players, but then I don't know how to say his name, but Ego Speed Jr. is D2. So they're getting a D2 top laner, and then Zyko gets back to playing mid lane, and they're still looking just as good as they were before.
I think the one, and to be fair, if we were going off whole split, I would say Near anyway. But I think the one criticism which I would have is that I feel like Demise mainly won because of their individual players and not really the fact that they were a full team. I thought the players were just really good individually, and I think, can you really credit that to a head coach when it's more their individual play which I think got them most of the wins, and not really the fact that they were a group, and it wasn't Demise as a whole which I thought was the reasoning, where I think there were other teams which won because they were a team, and I think that maybe does go more down to the coach. But that's the only criticism I can really say. But I would say Near because of what he managed to do with this side. But he has been. I believe he coached them when they were EJBY Brotherhood for a little bit as well, leading up to it. So he knew the players very well, and he knew what he could get out of them. Yeah, and I think that's a big part of a coach anyway.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give a criticism. That's all. I just needed to give another side.
Yeah. Which is fair enough, but then if you would consider that, then you couldn't give it to. They they individually beat every single team pretty much.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Then I feel if you took your criticism, then you'd probably give it to Eminem's coach. Yeah. Or obviously Padif.
Yeah, because I thought they were the more they won off team play more than I think probably any other side. You would have to say, even though they had carry players, you couldn't particularly say that one player was the carry throughout, or they won games because of a massive carry at that point. Even though Yuso obviously did his bits along with everybody else, it was more like a team. But yeah, no, I still say it was Near.
Yeah, I feel like something that's unappreciated about this split though, because everyone. But one thing that's underappreciated is how much UK talent that has been actually developed. Beartree, Soft, Chimera, Dragdar, RAF, PFI, like B leagues,
Zyko
like,
as well.
yeah, Zyko. Yes, that's it. I mean, like Only Angel's back in UK scene because he played in Italy, I think, before. Like, there's a lot of UK players which will now be like, expect to see them return, even though this split was supposed to be like a, like a slower split.
And like Chibs has got another split now as well.
Oh
so
yeah,
he's
but
only
yeah,
gonna
I
get
feel
better.
like Chips has like already solidified himself as
Yeah.
top tier. Like, yeah, I meant like more people that were like an unproven quality. Even though BD's been playing for long, he's always been considered like a good UK mid laner only because there's no UK mid laners. Whereas now you've got like Zyko, Chips, Chimera, BD, and it's just like, oh, okay, there's actually a decent amount of them now. So now you can actually see how BD stacks against other UK mid laners and not just against imports.
Yeah.
Cool. What's left then? Who would you say for an overall MVP?
Oh,
I'd go Kasing. It sounds a bit weird saying Kasing because obviously it's the UKLC. I know that sounds really bad, but obviously I've always still seen Kasing as like an LEC player, even though he obviously isn't at this point. So it's a bit weird giving an MVP, I think, to someone who's had that much experience. But if you just go off the impact, which I think he's had in the game, I think Kasing deserves it. And he may get a lot of the votes, I think, as well. Either that or MagiFelix, I would say. But Den Voxnay also is a shout as well, I think.
Yeah, I'd like, if you consider like MVP is like most valuable player, then like it's like, so who's been the most valuable player for their team? So like I feel like if you remove Kasing, Excel still perform. If you remove MagiFelix, like Fnatic still perform. Whereas like for example, if you remove Den Voxnay, I don't think DMS win like even half the games they did.
Yeah. No, I can agree with you there. It all depends on what you term as like most valuable player, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's that
if
big
we're
debate.
talking like
it's like
best player in the league, then it wouldn't be Den Voxnay, because I don't even think he's probably like top 3 ADCs here, but he's not like thingy. But yeah, like MVP, I would say Den Voxnay.
The deciding vote. What if I tell you my PayPal? I
know I'm getting paid here. What's this about?
This is how he does it. This is it. It's all a scam. It's PPI 2.0. That's it.
I think it depends what we're talking is an MVP. I thought it's generally meant to be who is the best player. So I'm going to go on that version. So then I'm going to go Kasing for that one.
We're all going to be wrong. It's going to be MagiFelix. I just feel like people will vote for him. But still, like, it's nice to be. I think Kasing deserves it, or Den Voxnay. I think if you go off that.
Yeah.
But I'll take the victory. It's fine.
The only other one then would be if they did a rookie of the split. I'm not sure if it's much different this split. When I had a vote in spring, I literally had to search to see who was a rookie because basically everyone has just been around the UK scene for years.
What? Den Voxnay.
But
didn't they
have wasn't the criteria that they couldn't have played in another regional league?
He hasn't, as far as I know. He was a sub for Ventus, but
oh,
you're right.
Yeah, I don't think he ever played. Yeah.
Okay, well then that's easier. Then
yeah.
Okay, I just.
Again, if Beartree had a few more games, maybe actually in the split, then I would maybe have give it Beartree. But yeah, Den Voxnay has been.
Chimera might be able to pick himself up a bit just because of recency bias, but I think overall Den Voxnay deserves rookie.
That I think in where you say about recency bias with Chimera, I think that's a fair point. One thing I just want to say on the term recency bias, so many times I hear it, it really pisses me off because people say it about things like like predictions on who's going to win a match, and whenever I hear someone talk, oh well, that's just recency bias. When you're talking about a prediction, that actually pisses me off so much. That's not recency bias. That's form, and form counts in predictions.
It's like the recent result players are playing it.
Even on like the Riot ones, like Euphoria and stuff, and they're doing like player predictions, and they're saying, oh well, you've got to watch out for recency bias. I'm thinking, no, that's form, and that counts. That's just one thing I just wanted to vent, because that really winds me up. But I'm not complaining at UKL, because the way you used it.
No,
The way
yeah.
you used it is the way it counts. When you're talking about something over an extended period of time, and recent stuff could make you biased. Rant finished. Sorry. Just had to get it out. So yeah, there we go. Rookie, yellow split, probably Denvox knee. And with that, I think we're pretty much done for the episode. If you guys want to let the viewers and the listeners know where they can find more of you.
Well, my Twitter's KiaoEU. My Spotify's 17KYLO. I've also got a YouTube channel, which is also 17Kylo. What else do I have?
Where'd that name come from? 17Kylo.
Kylo, because it's similar to Kiao and Star Wars.
And where did Kiao come from?
Kiao comes from me wanting. So actually a pretty funny story. So I went to EU Masters as the first with Rowley. And we met in Axe, because like Rowley and Axe are like close mates. And back then, my in-game name was Nearly 8 Inches. And Inax came up to a girl at EU Masters and said, "Oh, did you know that this is Nearly 8 Inches?" And it was really awkward. And I found it, and then I was like, you know what? It's not that bad. It's a funny name. I'm keeping Nearly 8 Inches. I was 16. I'm keeping Nearly 8 Inches. It's fine. And then I got a trial with Newcastle Jags. And then our coach was like, "So the only thing we're missing is Nearly 8 Inches." And I was like, so I wanted something that sounds Korean, and it was supposed to be Kiao, the pronunciation, but everyone pronounces it Kiao now, so it's Kiao. And that's the story.
Nice. All right then, Tom, where can they find you?
So if you want to see my personal profile, it's at the Tom Daniels. If you want to see my written work of all the best UK interviews in the UKLC, I would say I'm probably one of the only few. Then it's at Gromp News. The website is www.grompnews.com. Just search it, you'll find it. It's quite easy to find, and hopefully I can get some new articles coming to the end of the season. But I'm going to try and get an article with every one of the teams to see what the plans are for Forge of Champions, and I'm hoping to do some UK work as well. Give that a bit of love. Wow, there's a little bit of a gap as well, so that should be nice. So yeah, Cal, expect some questions coming your way.
Sure thing. I love it. I love attention. Don't worry. Send it all my way.
Good stuff. All right, thanks for coming on then, guys.
Thank you.
Been great to have you on. And for anyone else that wants more, if anyone wants more of me, I'm on Twitter at NTS_Lee Jones. For anything else, NineTeeSix, you've got the NineTeeSix Twitter, NineTeeSix, or NineTeeSix.net, where you can find the podcast. You can also find some of our articles as well. And for anyone on YouTube, Spotify, subscribe and follow. All right, that's it. Thanks for listening.